Hey, what's going on? It's been a while since I've posted a long video, but I wanted to share what I've been up to. I built an app and it's called Music Phrase Pyramids. If you've ever heard of sentence pyramids, this is basically sentence pyramids but for music. And just to give you a little bit of context, I taught my kid how to read at the age of 4, and we did it through a technique called sentence pyramids. So the way it works is instead of showing a kid an entire sentence and telling the kid, hey, read this entire sentence, you start by showing the first word of the sentence. They learn to read that word. They start to develop the sound of that word in their mind. Then you have them read the first and second word of the sentence, and then the first, second, third, fourth, and so forth until they're reading the entire sentence. And what I found was instead of like this cognitive load of just trying to, this overwhelm of trying to read the whole sentence, she started developing sight words faster. She started being able to hear and recognize words that she saw because she just recently saw it in the step before. And not only that, she started reading faster, but she also started being able to tell stories, like the most elaborate stories, without me ever teaching her a single rule of grammar. And so none of this, I don't know anything about the science behind this, but what I can say from my personal experience is that she learned vocabulary before grammar. And it's the same thing with music. I feel like a lot of us have learned theory first, and then we start to create vocabulary from that theory, or then we might get into transcribing. But I found a lot of the musicians that I've come across that play on a very fluent level, that don't sound like they're thinking, that are telling stories when they play, they have come from vocabulary first before theory. So it's the other way around. And this app aims to approach music learning in that way. And what it does is it basically allows you to take any phrase from audio that you have and turn it into a practicable stack, similar to a sentence pyramid. All right, so I'm going to switch screens for a second so you can see how this works, and I'm going to walk you through this app. All right, so this is Music Phrase Pyramids. Basically, it allows you to upload any audio and turn it into a progressive practice stack. So for instance, I can play my audio that I just uploaded. I can slow down audio too as well. And it retains the pitch. I can also zoom in on the file and zoom out. But this is basically the way it works is you start out by marking a phrase that you want to learn. And you can see this is the phrase down here. Now this is basically the same thing as like the sentence, the full sentence in a sentence pyramid. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start marking chunks. So for instance, let me just start playing this phrase. That's a phrase. That's another chunk or a chunk of a phrase. And another and another and another. Okay. And you can see here now it automatically creates a step-by-step pyramid of phrases or chunks of phrases for you to learn until you now master the final sentence or the full phrase. So I can practice a step, I can loop a step, and then when you get to the next step, it's longer. And then the next step. And so forth until you have the full phrase. So again, you're taking any audio and you're turning it into some sort of practice stack. Now here's some things you can do from a workflow perspective. If you decide you don't like a step or a chunk, for instance, and you're like, okay, I already got this, I don't need this, you can delete that and it will consolidate your chunks. You can also clear all your chunks. You can also clear your entire phrase. If you have a big phrase that you selected and you wanted to adjust it, you just turn off the phrase marking. You can adjust it by grabbing an edge, and you can also just grab the region too as well. And let's say there's multiple phrases that you want to learn within a song. For instance, we have shortcuts here. You can see here spacebar for playing and pausing, the P letter for dropping phrase flags, the C for dropping chunk flags, and then you can also select your own flags and delete those. So I'll show you that real quickly. Let's say I'm playing through a song. Let's get rid of this phrase, for instance. So let's say that's one phrase. So I can mark that phrase here, and within that phrase, I can play the track again. I can create chunks. Okay, let's say later down the road, there's another phrase I want to learn. So now I have multiple phrases that I want to learn, and when it comes time to learn it, I can now just select specifically that phrase. If I'm ready to do, maybe this phrase, I can select this phrase instead, and then mark my chunks. I have my markers here that can help me find those chunks more quickly. And then when I'm done, I can export this session, which is pretty cool. Okay, so that's what Music Phrase Pyramids is about. It allows you to take any recording and turn it into a progressive practice stack, just like sentence pyramids. If you're a ear player or a musician who's just started learning to transcribe music, or maybe you want to develop your ear better, I recommend giving this app a try. It's in public beta, and I'd love to see what this app makes possible for learning music.